My wife, Bella, had 4 best male friends, all single. They were the ones who coaxed her into taking a trip out of state with them, promising her an all-expenses-paid vacation. She wouldn't have to spend a dime, they assured her. Without a single word to me, Bella packed her bags on the spot and vanished with them. It wasn't until their plane landed, hours later, that I received a nonchalant text message. Panic clawed at me. I bombarded her phone with calls, desperate to hear her voice, to understand. But each attempt met with silence. Either her phone was off, or the calls went unanswered. Messages were left unread. Yet, jarringly, her social media feed bloomed daily with vibrant selfies of her adventures. 9 photo grids showcasing her radiant smile, invariably wrapped in the arms of one of her 4 companions. Photos of them, feeding each other tidbits of food, arms slung casually around shoulders, poses far too intimate for mere friendship. They looked like lovers. A bitter taste filled my mouth whenever I saw those updates. Worse still, our shared circle, relatives, friends, neighbors, they all followed her online. Every time I stepped outside, I felt their eyes on me, their gazes altered, laced with pity or speculation. The whispers seemed to follow me down the street. This agonizing limbo stretched over a month. Then, one morning, completely unannounced, Bella reappeared at our doorstep, suitcase in tow. She bounced towards me, throwing her arms around my neck with effervescent excitement. "Honey, I'm back. Did you miss me? I missed you like crazy." The memory of her month-long silence, the casual disregard, stoked the embers of my resentment. My voice came out tighter than I intended. "So you decided to grace me with your presence? Calls unanswered, messages ignored. If it weren't for your look at me photo dumps, I would have reported you missing." Bella stuck out her tongue playfully, attempting to diffuse the tension with practiced charm. "Oh, come on. I know I messed up. I was just scared you'd yell at me, so I didn't pick up. But I'm home now. Forgive me." She pulled me towards her luggage. And guess what? The whole trip, food, fun, everything, my 4 besties covered it all. I didn't spend a cent. Plus, she patted a large box labeled souvenirs. "I brought back tons of local goodies for you. Seriously, Arthur, I had the best time." Hearing her gush about those besties again poured fuel on the fire. My fists clenched at my sides. "Right now," I said, my voice low and strained, "you need to message them. Tell them to stay away from you. Permanently. You're a married woman, Bella, gallivanting across the country with 4 single men, draped all over each other in photos for everyone to see. How do you think that makes me look to our family and friends? Are you trying to utterly humiliate me?" The phantom stares and imagined whispers fueled my anger. My outburst wiped the smile from her face. Her expression hardened. "Why are you being so narrow-minded, just like everyone else? They're just my friends, Arthur. There's nothing going on between us. Think about it. If there was something, why would I have married you?" Tears welled in her eyes. "People with dirty minds see dirt everywhere. I thought you, my husband, would understand, would trust me. But you're just like them. And here I was, bringing you presents, planning a surprise. And you start yelling the second I walk in. You haven't even let me properly step inside. You're being so unfair." With a sob, she shoved past me and disappeared into the house. I heard the muffled sounds of her crying from the living room. Frustration boiled inside me. I punched the wall, the sharp pain a welcome distraction. Taking deep breaths, I tried to regain control before heading out, late, for work. When I returned that evening, the tension had seemingly evaporated. 3 dishes and a soup sat on the dining table, a rare sight. Bella, wearing an apron I hadn't seen in months, gently placed a bowl of steaming soup before me. She offered a soft, conciliatory smile. "Honey, don't be angry anymore, okay? We shouldn't let fights linger overnight. Please, just forgive me this once." Bella and I had met through a matchmaker. I'd married her with the genuine intention of building a life together, a forever kind of commitment. Seeing her, now, tender and apologetic, the knot of anger in my stomach loosened considerably. She was offering an olive branch, and weary of the conflict, I took it. After dinner, which she had cooked surprisingly well, I cleared the table and started washing the dishes. She sliced some fruit and put on a movie, dimming the lights. As I sat down on the sofa, she snuggled close, resting her head gently on my shoulder. It felt like the early days of our relationship, warm and comfortable. A wave of sweetness washed over me, dissolving the last vestiges of my anger. Maybe things could go back to normal. If only, I thought, she promises to cut ties, or at least establish serious boundaries. With those 4 friends, we can make this work. The atmosphere was intimate, charged by our month-long separation. I leaned down, intending to kiss her. But Bella placed a delicate hand over my mouth, her voice a soft, playful murmur. Wait a minute, honey. I have a surprise for you. I tried to pull her hand away, suddenly impatient. Whatever it is, it can wait. No, I want to tell you now, she insisted, a mischievous glint in her eyes. She took my hand and pressed it firmly against her lower abdomen. Her voice trembled with a mixture of excitement and joy. Arthur, I'm pregnant. With your baby. The words hit me like a physical blow. All warmth drained from me, leaving me cold and stunned. I knew, with chilling certainty, it wasn't possible. A doctor, years ago, had delivered the news unequivocally. I was sterile. Born that way. No chance. Bella watched my stunned silence, then giggled. Arthur, what's wrong? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you happy? When I found out, I was ecstatic. Absolutely over the moon. She beamed, oblivious to the storm raging inside me. In 9 months, our little baby will be here. I can already picture holding someone so tiny and precious. My heart just melts thinking about it. Do you think it'll be a boy or a girl? I couldn't form words, couldn't conjure an appropriate expression. Numbly, I pushed myself away from her and walked out onto the balcony, fumbling for a cigarette. The familiar ritual offered a fleeting moment of grounding. Bella followed, her voice laced with confusion. Arthur, what's wrong? Why are you acting like this? I drew deeply on the cigarette, the smoke burning my lungs. Staring out into the night, I finally spoke, my voice flat. Tomorrow, you're going to the hospital. You need to terminate the pregnancy. Her eyes widened in disbelief, then horror. Arthur Miller, are you insane? She shrieked. This is our first child. Our child. And you want me to get rid of it? How could you be so heartless? Tears streamed down her face as she started hitting me, pounding my chest with her fists, even biting my arm in her distress. I stood there, absorbing the blows. My face impassive. I'll take the day off tomorrow, I said, my voice cold despite my attempt at reassurance. I'll go with you to the clinic. Don't worry. I'll still take care of you afterwards. She collapsed against me, sobbing uncontrollably. After her storm of grief subsided, she slapped me hard across the face, the sound sharp in the quiet night, and then stormed out of the apartment, slamming the door behind her. I remained on the balcony, then moved to the sofa, chain-smoking through the night. The ashtray overflowed as dawn began to paint the sky gray. Rubbing my gritty eyes, I finally stirred, preparing to clean up the mess, my mind a numb fog of exhaustion and despair. Bella didn't return. Instead, the shrill ring of the phone shattered the morning quiet. It was my mother-in-law, her voice already sharp with accusation before I could even manage a proper greeting. I only agreed to let Bella marry you because you seemed like a decent, honest man. Arthur, look what you've done. My daughter is carrying your child, your first child, and you tell her to abort it? You soulless bastard. After everything she's given you. If I had known you were capable of this cruelty, I never would have let her marry you. My voice was raspy from the smoke and lack of sleep, but my resolve hadn't wavered. Mom, I said, using the familiar term. Please, tell Bella to come home. If she terminates the pregnancy, I promise I will treat her well. We can move past this. But she wasn't listening. She unleashed another torrent of abuse before hanging up abruptly. I automatically reached for another cigarette, only to find the pack empty. Running a hand through my hair in frustration, a surge of resentment towards Bella washed over me. She disappears for a month, returns pregnant with a child that cannot be mine, and I'm the bad guy for wanting to deal with the situation discreetly? I was trying to protect her reputation as much as mine. Those photos were public. A pregnancy, right now, would unleash a torrent of gossip and speculation. Why couldn't she see that? Did she want this mess to explode publicly? Anger simmered beneath my exhaustion. She was ignoring my calls again, playing the victim. I decided to confront her after work. But when I pushed open the apartment door that evening, the sight that greeted me stopped me cold. My own mother was bustling around the kitchen, while Bella sat regally on the sofa, hand protectively, almost proudly, on her still flat stomach, watching me with a smug, challenging expression. My mom rushed over, pulling me aside, her voice a hushed, anxious whisper. Son, she's pregnant. Just be patient with her. Please. A lump formed in my throat. But Mom, I choked out, the words tasting like ash. That baby, it's not mine. Tears welled in my mother's eyes. I know, dear. I know this is hard for you. Just endure it for now. Once the baby comes, she'll settle down. She'll be a good wife to you then. I wanted to argue, to scream that it wasn't fair, that this was madness. But the pleading look in my mother's eyes silenced me. I couldn't add to her distress. Bella, sensing her newfound leverage, immediately capitalized on it. Knowing my parents prioritized the family heir, she became imperious. She snapped orders at my mother, demanding snacks and drinks, while she lounged on the sofa, scrolling through her phone and eating fruit. My mother had arrived in a hurry, summoned by Bella, without even a change of clothes. As it grew late, I had no choice but to drive her home, my heart heavy with guilt and anger. When I returned, Bella was still sprawled on the sofa, watching TV. She saw me enter and called out sharply, "Arthur Miller, stop right there. I need to talk to you." I halted, turning to face her, my expression carefully blank. She didn't wait for me to speak. "Mom agrees," she declared, a triumphant glint in her eyes. "If this baby is a boy, he'll be the first grandson of the Miller family. That makes me a hero, the one who secured the family line. I've done you all a great service. So, from now on, you listen to me. Everything I say goes." She ticked off her demands on her fingers. "First, you will never interfere with me and my best friends again. Second, you will give me $10,000 a month for nutritional expenses while I'm carrying this precious cargo. Third, we're moving. I want a 3-story house, big enough for my 4 best friends to move in with us. They need to be here to take care of me and the baby." She paused, surveying my stunned silence. "Just those 3 things. Simple, right? If you refuse," her voice dropped, taking on a menacing edge, "I'll tell Mom and Dad that you forced me to lose the baby. You saw how much they care about this child. I don't think you want to break their hearts, do you?" The image of my mother's tear-streaked, pleading face flashed before my eyes. Trapped, I felt the fight drain out of me. My hands, clenched and unclenched, fixing my gaze on Bella's smug, gloating face, I forced the words out through gritted teeth. "Fine, I agree." Bella's face lit up with undisguised triumph. She immediately grabbed her phone and started dialing, presumably calling her friends with the good news. I couldn't stand to be in the same room. Wordlessly, I turned and retreated to the bedroom, the sound of her cheerful chatter echoing behind me. The next morning, Bella was up early, flitting around the apartment like an excited butterfly, already making plans. I ignored her and left for work. That evening, as I approached the apartment, I heard noise from down the hallway, loud voices, laughter. The door was slightly ajar. Pushing it open quietly, I overheard snippets of conversation from the living room. "Told you, just mention the old folks, and he'll fold like cheap laundry. Lay it on thick about breaking their hearts, scare him a little. He won't dare cross you. Once he gives in like this, he'll keep giving in. You'll have him wrapped around your little finger. Guys like him, pathetic, easy to read, easy to control." I stepped forward, rounding the corner. There they were, Bella, nestled in the center of the sofa, surrounded by her 4 male best friends. The conversation died abruptly as they saw me. Bella, cradling her abdomen protectively, stood up. Seeing my empty hands, she frowned. "Arthur, didn't I ask you to pick up groceries on your way home? Where are they?" I dropped my gaze, my voice flat. "I didn't buy any." Her displeasure was immediate. "I specifically messaged you. Your mom leaves for 5 minutes, and this is how you treat me? I'm pregnant, Arthur. Have you no conscience?" Her voice rose. "Is this how it's going to be? Do I need to call your mother back here to take care of me before you show some decency?" I remained silent, head bowed, absorbing her tirade. Behind her, I could see her friends subtly egging her on with nods and whispers. Yeah, that's right, Bella. You tell him. You're pregnant. You hold all the cards. Be tougher. We've got your back. If you don't get him under control now, imagine how he'll be when the baby arrives. He'll choose himself over you, guaranteed. Go on, Bella, louder. He wouldn't dare touch you with us here." Emboldened, Bella tilted her chin defiantly. "This is your fault, Arthur. Now, go kneel by the front door and repeat, 'I was wrong. I won't do it again 100 times. Then maybe I'll forgive you. Otherwise," she waved her phone threateningly, "I'm calling your parents right now and telling them you're trying to kill me." A smattering of applause came from the sofa behind her. "Perfect, Bella, perfect. Amazing. That'll teach him to disrespect you." I lifted my head, meeting her gaze directly. Amidst the sycophantic praise, she seemed completely swept away, rationality abandoned. "I'm your husband, Bella," I asked, my voice dangerously quiet. "Are you truly asking me to do this?" My voice hardened. "I worked all day. I come home, hoping for a hot meal, maybe a moment of peace. And because I didn't see a text message about groceries, I'm supposed to kneel like a dog and beg for forgiveness? Tell me, Bella, who is really in the wrong here?" For a moment, hesitation flickered across her face. She seemed to waver, but her friends immediately chimed in, their voices insistent whispers. "Don't back down now, Bella. You're pregnant. What are you afraid of? If you give in now, he'll own you. Yeah, Bella, listen to us. We're your best friends. We wouldn't steer you wrong." Her hesitation vanished, replaced by renewed stubbornness. "So what if I am?" she shouted. "I'm the hero of the Miller family now. You should listen to me. You messed up. If you treated me and the baby properly, I wouldn't have to punish you. But you ignored my message. You didn't bring the groceries. Now none of us can eat. So go kneel. And you stay there until we decide you've learned your lesson. I stared at her, truly stared. The woman I married felt like a stranger. Exhausted from the day and the constant drama, I didn't have the energy to argue further. I turned towards the bedroom. Bella wasn't finished. She lunged forward, grabbing my arm. Where do you think you're going? I wasn't done. I told you to kneel. This is just a small punishment for the first offense. If you defy me again, it'll be much worse. This was utterly insane. I yanked my arm free, anger finally flaring. Are you crazy, Bella? What exactly have I done to deserve this? Forget to buy groceries, and I have to kneel? There are 5 adults here, all with hands, feet, and phones. Are you going to starve to death? I pushed past her. I'm done talking. I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed. Losing face in front of her friends, fueled by their continued goading, Bella became frantic. She threw herself in front of me, arms spread wide, her face contorted with petulant rage. You're not going anywhere. You kneel, right now, or you don't move. Her friends erupted in cheers again. Bella shot me a look of pure defiance, oblivious to how grotesque her behavior had become. Words failed me. Anger surged. With more force than I intended, I placed my hands on her shoulders and pushed her firmly aside. I'm going to my room. Figure out dinner yourselves. Bella stumbled back, caught by one of her friends just before she fell. They immediately clustered around her, showering her with concerned questions and sympathetic noises. Ignoring the commotion, I walked into the bedroom and shut the door firmly behind me, locking it. Just before it clicked shut, I heard the unmistakable sound of Bella bursting into tears, though the words were muffled and indistinct. The emotional toll of the past few weeks hit me like a physical weight. I practically collapsed onto the bed and fell into a deep, exhausted sleep. It felt like only moments later when I was violently jolted awake by deafening, pounding music. The bass vibrated through the floorboards, shaking the walls. My heart hammered against my ribs. I fumbled for my phone. 11:30 p.m. Prime sleeping time for the entire building. Simultaneously, my phone started buzzing incessantly with notifications. The neighborhood WeChat group was exploding. Which inconsiderate moron is having a rave? Are they sick? My baby just fell asleep, and now he's screaming. Show some damn respect. This noise is unbearable. If it doesn't stop now, I'm calling the cops. And on, dragging a hand through my already messy hair, eyes burning with fatigue and fury, I stormed out of the bedroom. The living room had been transformed into a makeshift nightclub. Disco lights flashed, rented or borrowed from somewhere. Bella, dressed in a flimsy slip dress, glass of red wine in hand, was grinding, suggestively against one of her male friends. The others were dancing wildly, lost in their own drunken world. None of them noticed me standing there, silhouetted against the dim hallway light. My face a thunderous mask, I stalked across the room, dodging swaying bodies, and yanked the main power cord from the wall socket. Silence crashed down, sudden and absolute. The abrupt halt in music snapped them back to reality. Bella whirled around, pulling up a fallen shoulder strap, her eyes blazing. What do you think you're doing? Why did you turn off our music? She gestured wildly. This was my first party as a mom-to-be. We were having fun. Plug it back in, Arthur, right now? Or you'll regret it. How she planned to make me regret it, I no longer cared. I fought to keep my voice level. It's almost midnight, Bella. Blasting music this loud is disturbing everyone. You might not need sleep, but other people do. Do you really want the police knocking on our door, humiliating us all? Something I said triggered her. She lunged towards me, jabbing a finger in my face, her voice shrill with rage. Humiliating us? I'm the one who should be embarrassed. You think you're so great? Huh? You're nothing. Garbage. Who do you think you are, telling me what to do? If I dumped you, I'd have men lining up. How dare you interfere in my life, you pathetic little worm? As she got closer, the reek of alcohol radiating from her was overpowering. Despite everything, a flicker of concern surfaced. You're pregnant, Bella, I said, frowning. You shouldn't be drinking. It's not good for the baby. My gaze flickered towards her 4 friends. Did none of them have the basic sense to know a pregnant woman shouldn't consume alcohol? They were half drunk themselves. 2 of them flanked Bella now, draping their arms possessively over her shoulders, leaning in close. Normally, these guys avoided direct confrontation with me. I'm physically imposing, and my face doesn't exactly invite casual banter. They preferred to hide behind Bella, whispering poison in her ear. But fueled by cheap booze, their courage inflated. 2 of them squared up to me, sneering. We've been wanting to tell you off for ages, loser. Who the hell do you think you are, opening your mouth? Bella's the boss here. Yeah, you're just her dog. You do what we say. Get down on your knees right now and lick my shoes clean, or we'll throw you out on your ass. They seemed to derive immense pleasure from trying to demean me, emboldened by their numbers and the alcohol, clearly thinking this was their chance to dominate me. The two men high-fived, and one staggered towards the wall socket, intending to plug the music back in. I wasn't about to let that happen. I shoved him hard. Already unsteady, he tumbled backward onto the sofa, landing harmlessly but looking surprised. Bella shrieked as if I'd mortally wounded him. She flew at me again, a whirlwind of fists, feet, scratching nails, and biting teeth. She sank her teeth into my neck, sharp pain radiating outwards. Instinctively, I shoved her away, harder this time. Are you completely insane? I yelled, wiping a smear of blood from my neck. Bella landed heavily on the floor and immediately began wailing hysterically. He's trying to kill me. Arthur's going to murder me and hide the body. Help! Someone save me. Her four friends, cowardly despite their drunken bravado, panicked at her screams. They scrambled away in different directions, stumbling and bumping into furniture in the dim, flashing light. One of them kicked over a floor lamp, plunging the room into near darkness. It became utter chaos, shadows darting around like spooked horses, shouts of murder, echoing as they collided with unseen obstacles. In the pandemonium, I heard a sickening thud followed by Bella's sharp, agonized cry. Someone had clearly trampled her in their blind panic. Help me. My stomach. Oh God, it hurts so much. Help. Her voice cracked with pain and fear. Arthur, where are you? Arthur, please help me. I fumbled for the main light switch on the wall and flipped it on. The sudden bright light revealed Bella curled on the floor, face deathly pale, clutching her abdomen. Beads of cold sweat dotted her forehead. I rushed to her side, kneeling beside her. The faint, coppery smell of blood hit me. Bella grabbed my shirt, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Arthur, my stomach, it hurts my baby. I didn't know the extent of her injuries, but the sheer agony on her face spurred me into action. Gently, I scooped her up in my arms, a princess carry, and headed straight for the door, dialing emergency services as I ran. For the elevator. As for the four drunken idiots still cowering in the apartment, I told the dispatcher to send another ambulance for them. They clearly needed medical attention, or at least sobering up under supervision. At the hospital, the diagnosis was grim. Bella had been drinking, and the impact to her abdomen, whether from the fall or being stepped on, was severe. The doctor spoke plainly. The baby couldn't be saved. Immediate surgery was necessary to prevent further complications for Bella. Numbly, I signed the consent forms, handled the admission paperwork, paid the deposits. My mind felt detached, observing myself go through the motions. Bella didn't regain consciousness until midday the following day. Her first, groggy instinct was to reach for her stomach, memory flooding back. Her eyes darted towards me, wide with dawning horror. Arthur, my baby. Looking at her pale, tear-streaked face, a shred of pity pierced through my numbness. You can have other children in the future, I said softly, the words feeling inadequate. Understanding dawned in her eyes. She covered her face and sobbed, deep, racking cries of loss. Awkwardly, I sat on the edge of the bed and put an arm around her, offering silent, clumsy comfort until she cried herself back to sleep. I gently kissed her forehead, left a quick note on her phone explaining I was stepping out, and headed home. She needed nourishment after the surgery. I went to the market, bought ingredients for a restorative soup and some simple dishes, and spent the afternoon cooking. She had lost a child. Regardless of the circumstances, her body needed care. When I returned to the hospital room later that evening, tray laden with food containers, I found Bella awake, surrounded by her four male friends. Each of them sported minor injuries, a bandaged hand. Here, a black eye there. They looked like a convention of clumsy invalids. As I entered, all four heads swiveled towards me, their expressions uniformly hostile. A sense of foreboding prickled my skin. Before I could even speak, Bella's voice, sharp and accusing, cut through the air. Arthur Miller, I knew it. You did this on purpose. The doctor could have saved the baby, I know it. Why did you sign the consent form? You just used this as an excuse to get rid of my child. You venomous snake. Trying to remain calm, reminding myself she was grieving and physically recovering, I explained patiently. Bella, you suffered a severe blow to your abdomen. You were already showing signs of miscarriage. Before we even got here, the doctors did everything they could. Saving your uterus was the priority. The baby was lost, yes, but you're young. The doctor said once you've fully recovered, you can try again. Bella seemed momentarily speechless, but her friends immediately leaned in, whispering urgently in her ears. Don't listen to him, Bella. He never wanted this baby. He's the one who caused the miscarriage. Remember, he pushed you. He put you in the hospital. Yeah, Bella. And he attacked us too. He needs to pay for our injuries. Exactly. You need to get revenge, Bella. For us. And for your lost baby. Their blatant lies, their attempt to twist the narrative, finally snapped my patience. I almost laughed, the sound harsh and humorless. Are you kidding me? I addressed them directly, my voice dripping with contempt. You got drunk, trashed my apartment, injured yourselves and Bella in your drunken stupor, and now you're blaming me? I turned back to Bella, my voice firm. Firstly, whether we want a child is between me and my wife. It has absolutely nothing to do with any of you parasites. Secondly, I didn't lay a hand on any of you. You were drunk, running around like maniacs, breaking my things. I haven't even sent you the bill for the damages, and now you have the audacity to falsely accuse me. My directness silenced them momentarily. They shrank back slightly, resuming their whispering campaign in Bella's ears. See, Bella? Look how he talks to us. He definitely hit us. And the baby, it was his violence that caused the miscarriage. Bella, you can't let him get away with this. He's a monster. Call the police, Bella. He needs to be punished. Bella hesitated, glancing between me and her friends, conflict warring on her face. But her friends were relentless, one of them even pressing her phone into her hand. I watched them, a deep weariness settling over me. Bella, I asked, my voice low, how long are you going to let this go on? I had tolerated their constant presence, her inappropriate closeness with them, turned a blind eye for far too long. But this? Accusing me of assault, of intentionally causing the miscarriage? Even now, in this hospital bed, she was choosing them, choosing their drama, over any semblance of truth or loyalty to me. Her hesitation vanished. Her expression hardened into one of resolute accusation. Right in front of me, she decisively dialed the emergency number. Hello, police. I need to report my husband. He tried to kill me. I looked at Bella's face, now filled with undisguised hatred. I glanced at her four friends, their expressions a mixture of malice and smug satisfaction. In that moment, any lingering hope, any fragment of affection I might have still harbored for her, disintegrated into dust. It was over, utterly and completely. The police arrived quickly, within half an hour. They took Bella's statement, photographed her bruises, which were likely from the fall and being trampled, and obtained a copy of her medical records. Her four friends eagerly corroborated her story, each pointing fingers at me, claiming I had violently assaulted Bella, causing the miscarriage, and then attacked them when they tried to intervene. The officers escorted me out for questioning. As we left the room, I paused at the door, looked back at Bella, and asked one final question, my voice devoid of emotion. Weren't we husband and wife? Bella didn't answer. She just stared ahead, while her friends immediately closed ranks around her, murmuring reassurances. What they were saying, I no longer cared to know. Her silence, her cold indifference, was answer enough. My parents, notified by someone, rushed down from their home and bailed me out. My mother's eyes swam with tears, her voice thick with self-reproach. It's my fault, Arthur. All my fault. I patted her shoulder gently. It's not, Mom. There was nothing more to say. When we arrived back at the apartment, Bella and her entourage were already there. They had ordered takeout, and containers and wrappers littered the coffee table amidst empty beer cans. The place reeked of stale food and alcohol. They saw us enter. Bella's face contorted with hatred. Arthur Miller, you have the nerve to show your face here after what you did to me? You should be locked up. You should be facing the death penalty. I remained silent, too weary to engage. But my mother couldn't bear it. Bella, dear, she pleaded, her voice trembling. It's not what you think. Arthur had his reasons. Please, just drop the charges. Let him go. My mother's pleading tone only seemed to inflate Bella's sense of power. She laughed, a cold, harsh sound. You want me to forgive him? Fine. Get on your knees right now and beg me. Maybe if you grovel enough, I'll feel generous. Without a second thought, my mother started to lower herself. Mom, no. I grabbed her arm, pulling her upright. Bella's friends started jeering, egging my mother on, telling her to kowtow. Bella heard them, saw my horrified expression, yet did nothing to stop them, a small, cruel smile playing on her lips. A profound chill spread through me. When she was pregnant, manipulating my parents, I hadn't considered divorce. When she brought her friends into our home, turning it into their playground, I hadn't considered divorce. Even after the miscarriage, the thought hadn't seriously crossed my mind. But this, watching her try to humiliate my mother, reveling in this petty cruelty, it shattered something fundamental within me. The charade was over. There was nothing left to salvage. I met Bella's eyes, my own gaze steady and resolved. Let's get a divorce. The arrogant smirk vanished from Bella's face, replaced by sudden panic. She stammered, Arthur, wait, I didn't mean. But her words were drowned out by the jubilant cheers of her friends. Hooray, Bella's finally free. Now we can hang out whenever, wherever, no one telling us what to do. Congratulations, Bella. You don't have to be tied to this loser anymore. Quick, Bella agree. Get everything. All his assets. Don't let him have a penny to spend on some other woman. Forced into a corner by their enthusiasm, Bella straightened up, adopting a haughty tone to mask her earlier panic. Fine. Divorce. But the house and the car are mine. I shook my head slowly. The down payment for the house came from my parents. The renovations were paid for with money I borrowed from friends. You contributed maybe $2,000 towards furnishings. Legally, it's marital property, so I'll give you half its current value. The car was mine before we married. It's premarital property. Besides, you don't even have a driver's license. As for savings, all our joint savings have been in your control for years. Consider that your share. I won't ask for any of it back. We had been married for 5 years. Every paycheck I earned went into the joint account she managed. After basic living expenses, there should have been, conservatively estimating, at least $20,000, probably more. Bella didn't work. That money would be a cushion for her. But Bella looked outraged. 20,000? What are you talking about? There's barely $1,000 in that account. Are you trying to insult me? Throwing pennies at me like I'm a beggar? I just want the house and car. That's me being generous, not demanding you leave with nothing. I froze, processing her words. Where did the money go, Bella? She shifted uncomfortably, avoiding my eyes. Her friends suddenly found the floor incredibly interesting. The picture became painfully clear. No wonder you were so eager to have them move in, I said, a cold realization dawning. You planned this all along. You wanted me to support you and your 4 freeloading boyfriends. These men floated through life, charming Bella with flattery while seemingly holding no real jobs. And she, naive or willfully blind, treated them like cherished confidants. Bella tossed her head defensively. Don't talk about planning. They're my best friends. It's only natural they'd live with me. I was done arguing. Tomorrow, I said flatly, bring your ID. We're filing for divorce. Without another word, I turned and walked out, leaving the wreckage of my marriage behind me. As I closed the door, I heard Bella's tearful voice asking her, Friends, what do I do now? Their voices rose in a cacophony of conflicting advice and hollow reassurances. I didn't care what they said. I didn't look back. I spent the night at my parents' house. The next day, I took leave from work to handle the divorce proceedings. I arranged to meet Bella at the registry office. When I arrived, however, I found a crowd milling around the entrance, people holding phones, microphones, notepads. As soon as they spotted me, they swarmed forward, cameras flashing, questions flying. Is it true you beat your pregnant wife, causing a miscarriage? Sources say you're violent towards everyone, not just your wife. Do people like you even deserve to live? You've done so many disgusting things. Society would be better off without scum like you. I stared, bewildered, then looked towards Bella, who stood slightly apart, her eyes red-rimmed from crying. What is this, Bella? I demanded, keeping my voice low amidst the clamor. A divorce is painful enough. Why orchestrate this media circus? Her voice was hoarse but defiant. Everyone should know what you did. The horrible things you did to me, to my friends. She gestured towards the vulture-like crowd. I want the world to know that I am divorcing you. You're the one at fault, Arthur. You deserve to be punished. Something wasn't right. This felt less like righteous anger and more like a calculated move. It struck me. She was trying to destroy my reputation through public shaming, likely hoping to pressure me into conceding more in the divorce settlement. Having seen the devastating impact of online witch hunts, I knew I couldn't let this spiral. It wouldn't just affect me. My parents would be dragged through the mud too. Without hesitation, I pulled out my phone and called the police again. Officers arrived promptly. I explained the situation, the false accusations, the orchestrated public shaming attempt. The police sternly warned the crowd, ordering them to delete any recordings and disperse immediately. Grumbling, they complied, melting away, leaving only Bella and her 4 ever-present companions standing awkwardly on the sidewalk. I turned to Bella, my expression impassive. Well, the audience has left. Shall we go inside and file the papers? She bit her lip, a complex mix of emotions flickering across her face, before silently following me into the building. The filing process was straightforward. There was a mandatory 30-day cooling-off period before the divorce would be finalized. Once outside, Bella turned and walked away without a word, her friends trailing behind her like obedient puppies. I drove back to the apartment, now feeling strangely alien, and methodically packed my belongings. Suitcases, boxes, everything I owned went into my car. Bella and her crew were nowhere to be seen. After a final, empty look around the place that was once my home, I drove back to my parents' house. The apartment was Bella's problem now, at least until the divorce was final. Where she went after that, I neither knew nor cared. Over the next few weeks, my phone became a source of constant stress. Relatives I hadn't spoken to in months suddenly called, launching into tirades. They condemned me for being heartless, for beating my wife, causing her miscarriage, and then, the latest fabrication, cheating on her during her recovery. Wearily, I explained the situation, calmly refuting the lies. They were elders. I tried to maintain a level of respect, despite their misguided accusations. I knew Bella was feeding them this poison, but confronting her felt pointless. Let her have her narrative. Giving her this small victory seemed like the easiest way to finally close this chapter and preserve what little dignity remained on both sides. On the 28th day of the cooling-off period, just 2 days before the divorce could be finalized, my mother and I were cooking dinner. She still felt guilty about Bella, convinced that perhaps a home-cooked meal, some of Bella's favorite dishes, might somehow mend the irreparable breach. She harbored a faint hope of salvaging my marriage. The doorbell rang. Mom wiped her hands on her apron and went to answer it. A sharp cry of pain made me drop the knife I was holding. I rushed to the entryway. My mother was on the floor, having been shoved aside. Standing menacingly in the doorway were my mother-in-law, Bella, and a crowd of their relatives, brothers, cousins, looking ready for a fight. My mother-in-law stood with hands on her hips, her face a mask of fury. "Where's the whore?" she shrieked. "Where's the other woman? Let me at her. I'll tear her apart. And you?" She pointed a trembling finger at me. "Cheating on my daughter while she's vulnerable, beating her, causing her to lose her child. You heartless monster. You deserve to rot." She jabbed her finger towards the door. "I'm telling you, you're the guilty party here. When you finalize those papers in 2 days, you walk away with nothing. The house, the car, everything goes to Bella as compensation. And you will kneel on this doorstep and shout, 'I was wrong,' until your throat bleeds." I helped my trembling mother to her feet, then turned to face the hostile crowd, my gaze settling on Bella. "What is the meaning of this? I thought we agreed on the terms." Bella avoided my eyes, remaining silent behind her mother. My mom tried to intervene, her voice shaky. "Please, let's calm down. This is all a misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding?" Bella's mother spat. "And you old hag. If you hadn't been such a terrible mother-in-law, maybe Bella wouldn't have wanted a divorce in the first place. Look at the pathetic excuse for a son you raised. You should both just die to apologize to my daughter." They could insult me, accuse me, slander me, but attacking my mother crossed a line. I stepped in front of her, shielding her, my face hardening. "You've gone too far. Neither my mother nor I did anything wrong in this situation." "No," my mother-in-law scoffed. "Then why did you hit Bella? Why did you demand she abort the baby from the start? You're rotten to the core." The relatives murmured agreement, demanding compensation, demanding retribution. I realized then that reason wouldn't work. Only the cold, hard truth would end this. I strode back into my room, retrieved the folder from my drawer, and slammed the medical report down on the coffee table in front of them. "You say I forced Bella to abort the baby?" My voice was loud, ringing with long-suppressed anger. "Read this. The hospital confirms it. I am medically incapable of fathering children. I am sterile. That child was never mine. I asked her to terminate it so we could try to move forward, try to salvage our marriage. What was wrong with that?" My voice rose further. "Fine. You all convinced me, my own mother convinced me, to let her keep it. I thought, okay, adoption is adoption, maybe it being hers would make it easier. But what did she do? She invited her 4 best friends over, got drunk, acted recklessly. They trampled her in there. Drunken chaos. I was the one who rushed her to the hospital. And then, egged on by those leeches, she called the police on me. My mother tried to comfort her, and she demanded my mother kneel before her. You listen to what she did. You tell me I'm wrong for wanting a divorce after all that?" I jabbed a finger towards Bella. "We were married 5 years. My entire salary went into her account. There should be at least $20,000 saved. Ask her. Ask her where that money is now. Ask her who she spent it on." I quickly pulled up the security camera footage from the night of the party on my phone, the chaos, the drinking, the fall, and showed it to my mother-in-law. Her face went pale, then flushed with dawning comprehension and fury. She whirled around and slapped Bella hard across the face. "You told me you cut ties with those animals." Bella just woojaglan, covered her face, speechless. Her mother slapped her other cheek, even harder. Answer me. Where is the money? Bella couldn't answer, dissolving into tears, pleading with her mother. Without another word, my mother-in-law grabbed Bella's arm and practically dragged her out the door, the crowd of relatives trailing uncertainly behind them. I put my arm around my mother, watching them go, the silence in the apartment suddenly profound. The divorce was finalized 2 days later. It was Bella's mother who escorted her to the registry office, her face etched with apology. Arthur, she said quietly, our family has wronged you deeply. We pushed Bella towards matchmaking precisely because we wanted her away from those boys. We genuinely valued your character, your stability. We never imagined she would create such a disaster. She sighed heavily. I questioned her thoroughly. The baby, it was the result of her fooling around with those parasites. They saw you as an easy target, planned to pin the child on you. And the money, she spent it all, with them. Every last cent. She looked me in the eye. Don't worry. She's leaving with nothing. No compensation. We will watch her closely from now on. She won't bother you again. I simply nodded, took the divorce certificate, and walked away. Later, I heard through the grapevine that Bella, desperate to rejoin her 4 friends, had climbed out a window and run away from home. Her parents searched for days, frantic with worry, eventually collapsing in tears, utterly heartbroken. Hearing this news, I felt only a detached sort of pity, maybe a faint, bitter smile. Life moved on. My mother, ever hopeful, arranged another introduction. This time, it was a woman named Clara, divorced with a young daughter. Clara was gentle, kind, with warm eyes and a quiet strength. Her daughter was adorable, shy at first, but quickly warmed up to me. Now, when I come home from work, dinner is often waiting, 3 dishes and a soup, prepared with care. Clara's daughter runs to greet me with an enthusiastic hug. I don't think about Bella anymore. This simple, ordinary life, filled with quiet warmth and genuine affection. This feels like happiness. True happiness. End.